Everybody, so before you check your calendars, no, this is not Savory Saturday. In fact, it's Wednesday, and today I had really not a run scheduled, but just to do some yoga, mobility stuff, as well as some strength training or cross training, which I've got that done, got that taken care of. But last night, so get this, probably must have been 2:30 in the morning. Kim woke up and she just had a taste for cornbread, of all things. Well, we haven't had cornbread in years. I couldn't tell you the last time that we had it, but we do have a cornbread mix, so I thought I would surprise her. And when she woke up today, she'd wake up to some freshly baked cornbread. So that's what I'm working on right now. Before I go and start working on a YouTube video, she would do the same for me. In fact, as runners, especially if you're training for a marathon, it's a huge commitment, but not just on our part, on everybody around us who love us and care for us and want to spend time with us, because they have to sacrifice as well. All the time that we put into training, that's time away from them, doing things that they might like to do with us. So it's a little thing that I can do for her, and I know she'll appreciate it, and it'll be fun for her to be able to wake up to some freshly baked cornbread today. All right, I'm going to get doing this, and then right after that, I'm going to start working on the recap for week number 10 of our Boston Marathon training program. All right, I need to get baking this cornbread. Woohoo! All right, so the cornbread is out of the oven. In fact, I've already had a piece. Kim's been up, she's had some and really enjoyed it. Brought a smile to her face. So thanks for indulging me for a minute while I prepared that for her. And as a bonus for me, I had a little bit of that superfood soup left over that I made on Saturday. And so I took a piece of that cornbread and poured it over that and heated it up and ate it that way. And it was really good. Really enjoyed that. And the best part was I didn't have to make the soup. It's already been made. So that's my favorite meal of any day, is a leftover, because it's already prepared. Okay, so let's just turn now and we'll look at week number 10 of our 16-week marathon training program as I prepare to go to Boston. And to do that, I'm at connect.garmin.com, and you'll want to scroll all the way over to the left-hand side. And here I'm going to click on where it says activities. Let's see here. There we go. Activities. And I'm going to go to all activities. Now this brings up everything that was completed for week number 10. And for week 10 started for me on March 1st and it runs through March the 6th. So I need to scroll down just a little bit. And here you can see that I had 5 different yoga sessions. And for me, again, yoga is just a way to stretch out, prepare myself to go out on a run. So anytime that I'm going out running, you're going to see yoga listed ahead of the time. And that's, again, a lot of that mobility stuff. If this happens to be your first video, welcome to the Run Tall family. I'm really glad you're here. But for me, when I list yoga, it's not all typical yoga. There's yoga mixed in with a lot of mobility stuff that Netic Health had put together for me, which is an online physical therapy group. And that's just to work on some mobility issues that I've had that's caused some injuries in the past. So they're working on, trying to keep my hips loose and just all kinds of good stuff. So, and I did a video on that earlier on, so you can certainly find that on the webpage. But I had 5 different yoga sessions. So let's click on the little runner guy up here at the top, and we're going to just focus in on the different run activities that I completed. And again, it starts on March 1st, and so I ran 5 different times, but it wasn't a lot of miles because this was a mini taper. And I started out the week running some intervals. So let's just click on that and take a look, see how those turned out. So 6.14 miles here around town. So again, not great distance, but the idea was to run some short intervals at a higher speed or higher pace or faster pace. Had a VO2 max effect. I always love to see that. VO2 max isn't the end all be all of your physical fitness, but it is one indicator. So anytime that I'm working on that, I think it's a good thing. 151 beats per minute on average for my heart rate. Max was 166 beats per minute. My average pace, including my warm-up and cool down, was a 7:51. My best pace running those intervals with a 547. I look at that and I wish, why can't I do that all the time? Well, maybe someday. Right now, we're still working towards it. 181 steps per minute in terms of my average cadence with a 201 steps per minute max cadence. 1.12 meter stride length. Kind of favored ground contact time a little bit more on my left than my right here, 51.1% of the time, meaning that I'm spending a little bit more time. My left foot is spending more time on the ground than my right. And because we're running intervals, let's click on those and see what it looks like. So here you can see I ran 5 different intervals. They were 3 minutes each, and I had a minute and a half to recover between each one. So let's focus and just look at the intervals. So to do that, I'm going to click on where it says run. And so the first one is a 6:15. That's pretty good. I'll take that. And I was running in the Nike Alpha Flight version 1. Then a 6:19 followed by 6:34. Got a little slower, 6:22, and then ended at 6:46. So definitely slowed down there towards the end. Yeah, that's not uncommon for me when I'm running intervals. I start to get a little bit tired toward the latter half. All right, so let's click back here, and we'll click on an easy run. I was in the Adios Pro 3 for this easy run, and I probably was moving a little faster than what the run was calling for, but that's okay. I had some fun doing it, and I don't think there's any harm at all. So 5.53 total miles, and I'm going to scroll down here just a little bit, and here we can see it had a tempo effect, 152 beats per minute on average for heart rate, max of 163. Now, given my pace, it was a 7:17 minute mile average pace. So that's typically a little faster than I would normally do for an easy run, but I must have been feeling my oats that day. We'll take it. That's fine. My best pace was a 6:11, 30-minute run time, 187 steps per minute on average, 196 max. So not breaking into the 200s, but that's okay. It's supposed to be an easy run, even though, like I said, ran a little faster. And then 50.6% of the time on my left and 49.4% on my right. So, that's pretty close to 50-50. I'll take that. In fact, I'm just going to call it 50-50. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not at all concerned with that. And so let's click back. And since that's the easy run, let's take a look at the threshold run. And here we're at 5.43 miles in total. Scroll all the way down here to the bottom, and you can see that at a tempo effect, 149 beats per minute heart rate average. At some point, I really want to bring that down, but that's going to come over time. It doesn't happen overnight. It just comes with consistent training, and that's what we're working towards. So I know it'll be better even at the end of this training block. But all right, so let's see, 7:32 minute mile pace on average, 185 steps per minute on average, 198 steps per minute max cadence, 1.16 meters average stride length. Pretty close to 50-50, 50.8% ground contact time on the left, 49.2 on the right. And as a threshold run, I think it was pretty solid. I'll take it. I have no issues with that run at all. And again, I was in the Adios Pro 3s. And then let's click back here. So then that brings us to an easy run, which I did in the A6 Gel Nimbus 25s. I love those shoes. I think my first impression though was not. I wasn't super glowing about it because I just saw all that. I heard all that stack height and I read about it. I saw it. It looks just like it's marshmallowy soft. And because it wasn't, I just tempered my expectations a little bit. But having run in them now a few times, I really enjoy them. I recommend them. I recommend anybody that's looking for a max cushion daily trainer. Just don't expect them to be invincible run soft. Okay. All right, so enough about that. 3.65 miles for this little bit of a shakeout run because I was preparing, really saving my legs up, keeping them moving, keeping them loose, but not overtaxing them, getting ready to do the time trial that I did on Monday. Base training, perfect. 145 beats per minute average heart rate. I honestly did feel like even though it was just a short shakeout run, I was going slow. For some reason, I did feel like my heart was bumping a little harder than it normally should or would have. That's as high as some of my threshold runs have been recently. So not really sure what was going on there, but I'm not overly concerned. 8:37 minute mile pace on average. 7:29 was my best pace. Good. So 179 steps per minute on average cadence, 191 steps per minute max cadence. About 50-50, so that's pretty good. And I have noticed just, over time the more that I look at that ground contact time, that my slower paces do tend to be more 50-50. So it's when I run fast that I tend to be a little quicker off my right foot than I am off my left, which spends more time on the ground. Okay, so let's back up and we'll take a look at the half marathon. Now, if you want to see a complete breakdown of this, you can check out the video. I just posted it yesterday, where I basically take you with me along, with my GoPro, and I kind of talk through the half marathon as I'm doing it. What my updates are and kind of how it's going, kind of a thing. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. But we'll take a look at the global view of it here. Now, I went 13.93 miles. So the 13.1 miles was obviously the half marathon. The rest of that was just a cool down coming back home. A lot of times I try to go at least a mile or go 10 minutes, but I think I only went 7 or 8 minutes, something like that. It was just whatever distance it was to get to my doorstep. So 13.93 miles total. And my average for the marathon, for the half marathon itself, was 7:29 minute mile pace. And that actually was a little faster than I initially thought I might be able to accomplish, just because before I went out the door, I think I showed a view of what the roads and things look like. So we had gotten some snow and some freezing rain, and so there was some black ice out on the black top on the tarvy roads, and definitely on the concrete sidewalks and things. So that made it a little bit tricky at times. And I did notice that I did have to slow down more than once when the road was just icy, slippery, and I was a little concerned about falling. So I did have to slow down. So that accounts for some of it. But honestly, for the majority of it, I had pretty decent roadways to run on, and sidewalks. So I was able to pick up the pace a little more than I initially thought. I was hoping for maybe a 7:40 given the road conditions. But then when I got out there and got into it, then my expectations started going more towards maybe a 7:30. And it ended up being 7:29. So I was okay with that. Okay, so let's see, where did I leave off? So 7:33 minute mile. Oh, I think, let me back up a little bit. I'm not sure I hit my heart rate, 155 beats per minute, 162 beats per minute max. 7:33 minute mile average pace, and of course that includes the cool down, which I did slow down. 6:19 was my best pace. That was probably right at the start because I came out hot out of the box, so to speak. When I hit the ground running, I guess is what I should say, and it happened. And then 185 steps per minute average, 195 steps per minute max, 1.15 stride length. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for me. And then this is interesting. So more evened out the ground contact time between my left and my right. So I'll take it. That's perfect. If I could continue to do this consistently, that's pretty darn close to 50-50. I'd be thrilled with that. Okay, so that is it for the summary for week number 10. I do want to say thanks to everybody who's commented on previous videos. Oh, one of the questions that I got on, I think, yesterday's video on the half marathon time trial results was, do I know what shoes I'm going to wear in Boston yet? And it's going to be one of two shoes. So, and it really depends on what the course conditions are going to be. If it's dry, I'm going to be running, I can almost guarantee I'll be running in the Nike Alpha Fly version 1, not version 2. I like version 2, but they're not as fast for me. So version 1, because they're comfortable, they're fast, and honestly, I've got some confidence because those are the shoes that I wore when I ran the Detroit Marathon. And in fact, I would be wearing the exact same shoes I wore in Detroit because I only have about 30 miles on those, not the ones that I run in to train because I've got that extra pair, but I've got somewhat of a, I guess, fresh pair that I could take to Boston. That's if the roads are dry and the weather conditions are good. If it's wet and rainy, I'm going to take the Adios Pro 3. Even though I've got over 100 miles on those, I don't think that I would pick up a new pair. I don't think I would need to because these are still running pretty good, even with over 100 miles on them. But they perform a little better when the pavement is slightly damp. Obviously, nothing's going to do great on black ice, but if the pavement's just wet, they seem to stick to it pretty good, even though there's no real grip on the bottom of those. There's no tread, or it's pretty flat on the bottom, pretty smooth. But that also rubber that they use, for whatever reason, just seems to stick pretty good to that concrete and paved roads that I run on. All right, hey, thanks for making it to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, right here on Run Tall with Tim.